Hello dear students. Today, we will study The Tempest by William Shakespeare. The Tempest is commonly seen as Shakespeare's final solo play, though he later worked on other plays in collaboration with John Fletcher. It was first performed around 1611. This play is different from many of Shakespeare's earlier works. It is not only a story about kings, queens, and battles but also about magic, forgiveness, freedom, and power. It is about human relationships. It is about how people control or harm others. And it is about letting go. In this video, we will look at the story, characters, themes, and analysis of The Tempest by William Shakespeare. Before we begin the summary, let us first think about the title. The play is called The Tempest. The word tempest means a very strong and violent storm. In the play, a storm is the starting point. But the storm is not only about weather. It is also a symbol. It shows chaos and anger. It shows the disturbance of natural order. So from the very title, we know that this play is about more than just rain and wind. It is about the storms in human life. Summary of The Tempest by William Shakespeare. The play begins with a great storm at sea. A ship carrying important nobles is caught in this storm. The passengers panic and the sailors try to control the ship but fail. We hear cries, confusion, and fear. Everyone believes they will die. But soon we discover something surprising. This storm is not natural but created by a magician named Prospero. He lives on an island. He uses his magical powers to control the storm. He does this to bring the ship to the island. Why does Prospero do this? We learn that he was once the Duke of Milan. But his brother Antonio betrayed him. Antonio took his position and sent him away. Prospero, along with his young daughter Miranda, was set adrift in a small boat. They were left to die. But luckily, they survived and found this island. Now, after many years, Prospero sees a chance for justice. The very people who betrayed him are on this ship. By creating the storm, he brings them under his control. At the same time, Miranda feels pity for the people on the ship. She thinks they will die. She asks her father to stop the storm. But Prospero explains to her that no one will die. He has arranged everything carefully. We also meet Ariel, a spirit who serves Prospero. Ariel is not human but airy, light, and magical. He can take many forms, like a sea nymph, a harpy, or an invisible force. Prospero rescued him from imprisonment by a witch named Sycorax. But in return, Ariel must serve Prospero until he is given freedom. Ariel is the one who carries out Prospero's commands, including raising the storm. We also meet Caliban, another inhabitant of the island. Caliban is described by Prospero as the son of Sycorax, a witch who never appears on stage but whose presence shapes the story. Caliban is often described as savage, deformed, or half-human. He believes the island belongs to him because his mother lived there before Prospero. But Prospero treats him as a servant or even a slave. Caliban resents this deeply. So in the first act, we already see the main tensions. Prospero seeks revenge and justice. Miranda is innocent and kind. Ariel wants freedom. Caliban wants ownership of the island. And the nobles who betrayed Prospero are now trapped. Now let us look at what happens in Act 2. The nobles from the ship have been scattered on the island by Ariel's magic. They include King Alonso of Naples, his brother Sebastian, his son Ferdinand, and Prospero's brother Antonio. We see different groups of people exploring the island. Some are full of fear. Some try to make jokes. Some plot against each other. One group includes Alonso, Sebastian, and Antonio. They argue about what has happened. Alonso fears his son Ferdinand is dead. Antonio and Sebastian, however, begin to plot. They think about killing Alonso so that Sebastian can be king. Here we see human greed and betrayal, just as before. Another group includes common sailors like Stefano and Trinculo. They find Caliban. Caliban, angry at Prospero, decides to follow them. He hopes they can help him overthrow Prospero. This part of the play has comedy. Stefano and Trinculo are drunk and foolish. Their plotting is not serious, but it shows how even servants desire power. Act 3 discloses Miranda and Ferdinand meet in another part of the island. Ferdinand has survived the storm. He is separated from his father, the king. When Miranda sees him, she falls in love instantly. She has never seen another man except her father and Caliban. To her, Ferdinand seems noble, strong, and beautiful. Ferdinand also falls in love with Miranda. But Prospero pretends to be strict and does not allow them to marry immediately. He makes Ferdinand work by carrying logs. This may seem harsh, but Prospero is testing Ferdinand. He wants to be sure Ferdinand's love is true and not false. This part of the play shows a different kind of storm, the storm of emotions. Love becomes a central theme. In Act 4, Prospero finally agrees to their marriage after testing Ferdinand. He blesses them. He even calls upon spirits to present a mask or performance for them. This mask is filled with images of peace, nature, and fertility. It is like a wedding celebration. But even here, Prospero suddenly remembers the plots against him. He interrupts the mask and becomes angry and fearful. He realizes that human life is fragile, like a dream. Prospero says, "Our revels now are ended. These are actors. As I foretold you, we're all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air." He explains that life itself is like a play. It passes quickly. It is an illusion. This is one of Shakespeare's greatest reflections on human existence. In the final act, Prospero's enemies are brought before him. He could take revenge as he has the power. But instead, he chooses forgiveness. Prospero chooses to forgive Antonio, even though Antonio himself never shows regret or repentance. He forgives the king and does not kill anyone. He also promises Ariel his freedom. As for Caliban, Prospero acknowledges him as part of the island. At the very end, Prospero gives up his magic. He says he will break his staff and drown his book of spells. He will return to Milan and live as a normal human again. This is very symbolic. Many critics think Shakespeare was speaking through Prospero, saying goodbye to his own career as a playwright. The play ends with peace, with a marriage between Miranda and Ferdinand, and with Prospero's final act of forgiveness. Themes of The Tempest by William Shakespeare. One major theme is power and control. Prospero controls everyone with his magic. Antonio and Sebastian try to take power by betrayal. Caliban wants control of the island. Stefano and Trinculo want to rule by force. Power struggles are everywhere. Another theme is colonialism. Some critics see Prospero as a symbol of colonizers. He comes to an island, takes it over, and enslaves the native Caliban. Caliban represents the colonized people who resist. This makes the play very modern in its meaning, because it connects to history of empire. Another theme is forgiveness versus revenge. At first, Prospero wants revenge. But in the end, he chooses forgiveness. This shows moral growth. It also makes the play different from tragedies, where revenge often destroys everyone. Another theme is freedom and slavery. Ariel longs to be free. Caliban longs to be free. Even Prospero is trapped by his desire for control. The play asks, what does it mean to be truly free? Another theme is illusion versus reality. The storm is not real. The mask is not real. Life itself is called a dream. Shakespeare shows us that art and magic can create illusions, but truth lies beyond them. Characters of The Tempest by William Shakespeare. Prospero is the central character. He is both powerful and flawed. As a magician, he controls nature and people. As a father, he protects Miranda. As a man, he struggles with anger and revenge. But he grows. By the end, he chooses forgiveness and gives up magic. He symbolizes wisdom, but also human weakness. Miranda is Prospero's daughter. She is innocent, gentle, and compassionate. She feels pity for those suffering in the storm. She falls in love with Ferdinand. She represents purity and hope. Through her, the play shows the power of love to heal and bring peace. Ariel is the spirit servant. He represents air, freedom, and imagination. He obeys Prospero but longs for independence. Ariel's music and magic guide the play. At the end, he is set free. Ariel symbolizes art, creativity, and the desire for liberation. Caliban is the son of the witch Sycorax. He represents the earth, the physical, the natural. He resents Prospero's control. He sometimes speaks beautifully about nature, but he is also violent and angry. Many modern critics interpret Caliban as a symbol of colonized people, since he loses control of his island to Prospero. Caliban is one of the most debated characters in literature. Ferdinand is the Prince of Naples. He falls in love with Miranda. He is loyal, patient, and noble. Through him, the play shows young love and the hope of renewal. Antonio is Prospero's brother, the one who betrayed him. He represents greed, ambition, and treachery. He never truly repents. Alonso is the king of Naples. He helped Antonio betray Prospero. But by the end, he regrets his actions and seeks forgiveness. Stefano and Trinculo are comic characters. They bring humor, but they also show human foolishness and greed. Conclusion. So, to sum up, The Tempest by William Shakespeare is a story about a storm, but also about human storms inside us, storms of anger, revenge, love, and forgiveness. It shows us the dangers of power, the pain of betrayal, and the importance of mercy. It also shows us how art and imagination can create whole worlds, just like Shakespeare created this play. At the end, when Prospero gives up magic, it is as if Shakespeare is saying, "Goodbye," to the stage. That is why many readers feel this play is not only about Prospero, but also about Shakespeare himself.